Falcons should be alone at the top of the division right now. Yes, Sneaky, you are right. The Rams did fail us too. But one team that did not fail us over this past week was the Hawks, man. The Hawks actually played pretty well on this road trip. I believe we had a 5-game road trip, and then we came home and played the Pelicans. With the last game, the Hawks beating the Pelicans in overtime. What else we got, man? You said what?
Let's see these standings.
So,
understood. So yeah, right now, Hawks 6-3. We're in 4th place behind the Celtics, the Cavs, and the Bucks. I think that those top really 5 teams, Bucks, Cavs, Celtics, Hawks, and Raptors, we're all in about the same level.
You said the Bucks and the Hawks are in the same level right now?
Hey, Giannis got a knee injury.
Oh, because Giannis is hurt. Oh, okay. The Bucks are undefeated, brother.
Relax. But yeah, with Giannis with a knee injury, I feel like everybody else is trying to fight it out right now. Cavs are playing really good basketball, and somehow the Celtics just will not die. I just knew that once they didn't have Robert Williams, it was going to be a wrap. And nope.
It seems so. So here's the thing about the Celtics and the Falcons and the Hawks. We are discounting that the Celtics players could have gotten better. Like Jason Tatum looks like he's gotten better at 3-point shooting as they just shot 27 threes. Brown looks like he's gotten better at finishing through contact, even more so. They just gotten better. But the Hawks, the only reason I would say the Hawks have gotten better because of one person and one person only. Right now, the reason that we have gotten better is my man, your man.
Oh,
everybody.
I had to make sure you weren't gonna say nothing crazy here. I was like, all right, let me see where Reggie going with this.
Oh, I can't log. Well, I can't log into Instagram right now.
But it's DeJounte Murray, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and I'm confident in saying this. He's the best player on our team currently. Through the beginning,
right now he's the most complete player.
And he's went out and won us 2 full games already. At this point, I'm ready to pay him right now.
So right now we having trouble with our Instagram, so I can't really show y'all any pictures. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna bring up the last few games that we played. The Atlanta Hawks played. We went last week. We played Detroit twice. We played Milwaukee, Toronto, and New York. That was a 5-game road trip that we just finished. We ended up going 3-2. We had 2 hard-fought games against Detroit. I want to say in one of those games, DeJounte went wild crazy. But we had 2 hard-fought games against Detroit. Then we played Milwaukee. That was another hard-fought game. It just got away from us at the end. We ended up losing by 8. We got just absolutely throttled by Toronto. We allowed 139 points. That was the second
and
of
managed to score 109 ourselves.
I believe that was the second of a back-to-back for us on the road, which is really, really difficult to play. And you could tell that we just had no energy when it came to that game. And then finally, to round it off, you knew that we were waiting to play the Knicks. We're not going to talk about the other 4 games just because I want to talk about the Knicks. The Knicks game was supposed to be billed as one of the better games of the weekend, which it turned out to be.
It was something. No, it was one of the better games.
It was one of the better games. The Knicks jumped out to what was a 23-point lead.
I was discouraged too. I was hurt. And I wanted to bet this game, but I waited too late. And you know how you wait until the grace period to where it's like, oh, this dude's just being an asshole. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that now. So I didn't. And then they got up 23, and I was like, oh, you know what? I might have done myself a solid. And then they called his own defense, and bam.
So here's what happened with the Knicks. They went up by 23. Trae Young was visibly frustrated, and he actually had a really bad night against the Knicks. 7 of 22, 2 of 7 from 3. I want to say he missed 8 straight shots in the first quarter, and he was pressing, and it looked bad.
The first quarter.
It looked bad. He missed 8 straight shots to end the first quarter, and it looked really, really bad. I mean, he was missing shots. He was missing layups. He was missing literally everything. And DeJounte Murray came up to Trae and said, just calm down. Like, I can tell that you're going crazy. Calm down right now, and we'll be all right. DeAndre Hunter, we shot like 23% in the first half.
It was terrible.
It was bad. Awful. But one thing that did happen at the end of the first half was DeJounte Murray got going.
He's a turnover machine.
DeJounte Murray got going, and Nate, we went in, and in the halftime, we made a defensive adjustment. We played zone coming out. We played zone, and we put DeJounte Murray at the top of the zone at the top of the key. So it was kind of a zone, but it was really like a defensive boxing one where it was like, okay, whoever is at the top of the key, DeJounte, you guard, and everybody else just rotate. And that's exactly what we did. And DeJounte Murray he was credited with 5 steals. He had 36 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 5 steals, and a block. And he shut down Brunson. Go ahead.
And Nate went to the zone actually in the first half, but it didn't work that great. But I think that he still saw something where he was like, this will work. So when he came back out with it in the second half, it was unstoppable. And of course, shout out to Tibbs not making a damn adjustment. So it just allowed, basically for a while, DeJounte Murray to just cause utter chaos. Every time they inbounded the ball, try to do everything, he was just in the way. Jalen got in the way a little bit too, and Tibbs just let it happen. I can't believe he just let that unravel, considering his current situation with the Knicks. You just saw it happen, and everybody saw it. It wasn't very fast, and we missed a bunch of shots early, and then after a while, they just ran out of gas.
So while watching this game, I saw that the Knicks were hitting like every 3-pointer known to man in the first half. And I said, what do we always say? The law of averages is going to be pretty soon. It's going to work out. Unless they're going to shoot 80% from 3 for the game, at that point, you just tip your hat and say, okay. But they ended up, like you said, they didn't make any adjustments. When you have Isaiah Quickly with 16 rebounds and leading your team in rebounds, you know it's going to be a long day. Isaiah Quickly is their backup guard. I don't know what he plays, point guard or shooting guard, but he's a guard.
But they got to figure out, he's underutilizing Cam Reddish and Obi Toppin. And until
Obi Toppin was kicking our ass.
And then just took him out of the game. Thanks to Tibbs. We've been so fortunate, both for basketball and football, for people to just either be not available or to do dumb stuff. And Tibbs trying to coach himself from being fired.
Tibbs trying to get that buyout.
Go ahead, pay me, I'll go home, bro.
But so the Hawks. Then we ended up playing. Who did we play last night?
Pelicans.
The Pelicans. We ended up playing the Pelicans last night. And I'm gonna tell you this. We're gonna tell you our likes and dislikes about this whole week. Zion is just one of the most physically imposing people you can see on a basketball court. He is,
especially when the ref just let him. Go ahead, my bad. I'm mad.
I say don't hate now. He and the fact that he can elevate from outside of the paint and there's nothing you can do about it is the crazy part. There are a few layups where he would just turn around and jump. And I was like, well, damn, what you gonna do? I mean, what you gonna do with that? John Collins had his entire night was just straight up defending Zion or doing something. Clint Capella, vintage Clint game, 21 points, 19 rebounds, 4 blocks, one assist, 1 steal in 35 minutes. Actually outplayed Valanciunas a lot. DeAndre Hunter, got to give shots out to you. You only have 15 points, yes, But you did a hell of a job on BI Brandon Ingram. Played really, really well against Brandon Ingram. So all in all, I'm extremely, extremely happy that we won. We came back from 23 points down to beat the Knicks, and then we played really well against the Pelicans. And, of course, Trae Young started off hot. He was really, 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 really aggressive. 34 points, 10 assists, a block, 2 steals. Played really well. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited. We have had a Jalen Johnson sighting. Jalen Johnson in 15 minutes, 5 of 7, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and an assist, including a windmill dunk. He looks like he's settling into his role as well, man. What did you like about these last 5 games that we played?
The Raptors, they just destroyed us. It was embarrassing. Pascal, I think, will be out for like the next 2 weeks, though. So I know we play a difficult schedule, but if there's ways to win games right now, they are extremely valuable because I think that Toronto may struggle. Versus the Knicks, Tibbs gave us a game. He handed it to us. They were whooping our ass early. They completely mismanaged this game. This is one of the games that I think that will probably be one of the reasons that if he does get fired here, they will look back on. There's no reason they should have lost this game. He left Evan Fournier in way too long. Who should have already been on the bench. I do think that he got his ticket to the bench after this game. That was just a bad one. Nate made a solid adjustment, and then Tibbs just doubled down on losing. The Pelicans game, a little tricky for me because we felt like we dominated the entire game until the last 5 minutes. Then we caved in natural Atlanta form. They came back. And then we ended up having to go into overtime. DeJounte bailed us out. He has consistently been the best player for this team. I completely understand why Trae wanted him instead of Kevin Huerter. No slight to Kevin Huerter.
Who's been balling
so far. Yes. Who's been playing his ass off. But DeJounte has got us 2 wins very early that we would not have won any other way. I do have some questions about how we end quarters. And if a player is hot, I think we should go to the hot hand. But we can get into that here now.
So I like that Nate always says kind of like the Brian Snicker move. It's really the sports management move. If you're a coach, you split your away games and you take care of home. When you do that, you will make the playoffs every year. If you split the away games and you win the majority of your games at home, you will make the playoffs every year, and you will be a contender every year. I feel like we're falling back into the same things that we talked about last year with the Hawks. Our defense is either pretty good or atrocious. Like, there's no in between. Our three-point shooting has not come around. Of course, we've lost 2 of our best three-point shooters in free agency. Well, we traded one, and another one left in free agency, and the third one is hurt. We are definitely missing Bogey. But here's what I really hate. And I saw a conspiracy theory on Twitter, and it's hard to disprove conspiracy theories. Somebody thinks that John Collins in the locker room, especially Trae Young, we brought this conspiracy theory up 2 years ago. There's something wrong there. Something wrong. Because Trae Young is so willing to pass the ball to Clint Capella at all times. And Clint Capella blows more layups than anybody. John Collins consistently shoots 50 to 75% from the field every time he gets out there on the court. And they are freezing him out. They are freezing John Collins out. He had 7 points last game, and he doesn't complain. He has definitely figured out how to
still finds a way to affect the game.
And he had different ways to impact the game. He's averaging more rebounds, which we both said that wasn't going to happen because DeJounte came over. Well, we were wrong. He's not averaging 12 rebounds instead of 8. He's averaging more blocks. He saved the game against the Pistons. He is one of the better weak side defending power forwards in the game this season right now.
More steals,
more assists. He's passing the ball to Clint more. He's doing everything correctly, and he's still shooting 40% from three. And he's added a post game, even though he doesn't have a lot of post game. He has 2 post moves that he goes to: spin, face up, shoot the J, or go around you, and he's doing it more. And yet we don't give him the shot.
He played great defense. Now, there's not a whole lot that Clint and John Collins can do if the referee is going to let Valanciunas and Zion drop their elbow and shoulder into them every play on offense. So literally all that was happening. And I was like, at first, they were just murdering him. Drop the shoulder, knock him down. Valanciunas is a man. Zion is a man and a half. You can't even get mad at them for what the referees were doing. But eventually, Collins got a couple charges, got one early, got another one later. And he played good defense. And even when they were like passing Zion the ball, they were making it difficult on him. He turned the ball over probably 4 or 5 times in this game. Until the end. At the end, I think that he might have he got to a point where he was in wrecking ball form at that point. And wasn't anything you could really do at the end. But for 3.5 quarters, he played damn good defense. At the end, though, he was like, "Nah, I'm still Zion Williamson. I need to let the world know.
I'm still 280 pounds or 765.
And ain't nothing you can do with it except for call God, because he hit one of them and kind of tiptoed and just tossed it. I was like, oh damn, people gonna be on my head about that one. But there's nothing you could do. He was just dropping his shoulder into John and Clint repeatedly.
They got it, and that's something that we said John has to do. But just speaking on offense, John is getting froze out, man. I mean, they are not looking for him. And this is the gift and the curse with Trae Young, because he started out so hot against. I think he hit his first 3 3-pointers of the game, and one of them was a sidestep shot that he's been working on over the summer. And I said, "Oh, it's about to be a long night for y'all," but because he hits those shots, everybody else loses flow of the game. And I will say this, in the New York game, now, John, it seems like when John has a bad game, we don't look for him the next game. John should have had 25 points against New York because they can't handle him. John against Toronto is always going to struggle against. John is going to struggle against Toronto at all times. There's not, unless he hits threes the rest of the game, because Toronto literally is, if the 6'5" people have the arms of 7 feet people, and then everybody else is 6'8". So there's nothing you can do, because John is a 6'8" power, 6'9" power forward with regular people arms.
Exactly. But that's the game where everybody, like, that's the thing about the team is you can't cook probably every night, but it's when it's your night to cook, you need to serve. That's it. It's very simple. So, and Trae's still having issues giving the reins up. You can see it. Because even with DeJounte, that's the reason I wanted to talk about the end of these quarters. DeJounte got us all the way back into this game. He's the one who hit the shot to tie it up. And then Trae just like, "Oh, no, hand me the ball." And I'm like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And it did not work. The first one, he missed it. They turned it over. Then the second one was either the toss or the alley-oop to Clint. But at that time, it should have gone to DeJounte. He brought us back. He had the hot hand. Don't divert from the hot hand.
Trae always diverts from the hot hand, though. I think,
unless it's him.
I think Trae has to figure out, and we've been saying this, and they're not going to listen. He's got his money. You got to figure out, man. We struggle when you average 35 points. We struggle. We struggle when you average 35. Now, he had 34 and 10. And the thing is, it's like Russell Westbrook. You can't complain about a triple-double. You can't complain about 34 and 10. But John Collins is supposed to be our security blanket. John Collins is supposed to be the guy when we need a bucket and the game's going up too fast, moving up too fast. You know what? Give it to John on the block or run a play. Get him at the top of the key or at the corner. He likes top of the key threes, corner threes, and he likes being on the post. Those are his hot zones. So if you get them there, he is the one. He will always end a run, no matter what run it is that the other team is on. 8-0, 6-0, 10-0. If you give it to John at least a couple times, that run gonna end. It's gonna happen.
stop your run at 6 versus letting it get to 10. Or my other one is when we go up 8, give him the very next shot. Let's get to 10. Because there's a big difference between being up by 8 versus being up by 10. And the same thing with, hey, we down by 6. Next, we got to go to John. Let's get a shot that we know we can make here. And sometimes we go for it, and then sometimes we diverge into a long 3-pointer, which is always putting us in a bad situation because what? It's a long rebound.
John this year
6 to 8, quick.
What is he averaging this year?
Probably about
real quick
13 points now.
He's averaging 13 points.
But look at it. He had 2 good games, and then it's like Nate has to do a better job of identifying the roles of this offense, and he's gonna have to figure out how to do a better job of spacing these points.
Come on, man. John started out on a heater. Houston,
Exactly.
24 points. Orlando, 23 points. Then we went away from him against Charlotte, 10 points. Now, he did have a rough game against Charlotte. He had 10 points, 10 rebounds. He was 0 of 7 from three-point shot. He could not hit a shot against Charlotte.
He need to stop shooting so many damn three-pointers.
But then came right back against Detroit, 19 and 11. And then for some reason, we just stopped going to him. Detroit, the second game of the back-to-back, 4 points. Against Milwaukee, 4 points. Toronto, he got most of his points in garbage time because he was they keep making him shoot 6 3-pointers a game.
Exactly.
12 points.
If he's
New York, 12 points, and he's never had more than, of the games that he's only had more than 12 shots twice. He got 24 points and 20 points when he had more than 12 shots. And he's averaging 50%. And he's shooting 52% from the field. So if you give him the ball 16 times a game, if you just let him shoot 12 to 16 times a game minimum, he's going to hit 6 to 8 shots. Even if they're all twos, that's 12 to 16 points a game. Without even that's just without rebounds, that's without alley-oops, that's just running plays for John. I actually wouldn't even be mad with the shot amount if it stays at 10 to 12 a game. But you got to run the plays for him because he's going to get his 5 shots from getting rebounds. You got to run 10 plays for John Collins to just set it up. And Nate did say, hey, we missed John a few times in this game, where the conspiracy theories got out. Because either Nate sees it and is not addressing it, or he's seeing it and he's addressing it and they're not listening. One or the other is happening. He seems like Nate is really, 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 really good. This is what Miss D is. Shout out to Miss D. She said it seems that Nate is really good at pointing out the flaws and really bad at fixing them.
That's a bar. That's true.
Think about it.
Yeah, and he's doing this. John is better suited for a 5 that can shoot.
No, John shouldn't play 5. He shouldn't play.
No. You're missing what I'm saying. He's actually better suited with a 5 who can shoot the ball.
Oh, too. With a 5, a Miles Turner.
Yeah, yes. So he's actually constricting his game just to be more effective for the team. But if you really had a guy who could shoot, his game would be completely different.
Yeah, you can't double him. But it's the sacrifice, and we knew. And again, when DeJounte goes 36, 9, 6, and 4, hey, John, you gonna have to stick it. But John had 12 points and 13 rebounds because he's affecting the game in other ways.
Oh yeah.
But you gotta run plays for him. And he plays good defense and he hustles.
Yeah.
Any other big man in the game, when they play defense, they rebound, they don't complain, and they hustle down the court and run. You reward the big man.
Yeah.
Why are we not rewarding John Collins? And you need to address this now, because we 6-3. You need 7-3, 6-3, 7-3. You need to address this now. Yeah, who do we play next? Let's get to the schedule.
Yeah, but my thing, definitely we got to figure out a way to get him involved more. And We gotta figure out how to get to him 12 to 14 shots a game, or we're wasting him. And he's done so much better on defense. He's a good defender
He is.
now.
He's a really good help side defender.
And now this week is rough because we play on Monday. We play the Bucks. I don't know if Giannis is gonna play in that game. I know he had I think a knee injury. On Wednesday we play the Jazz,
who are first place in the West.
Yeah, we assume that the Jazz would not be good, but they are in fact very good. Lloyd Marketing
the Jazz
playing
are
out of his mind.
First place in the West.
Now this is another team, the 76ers, who we play on Thursday. I assume that. Well, I know that James will be out. I don't know the status of Embiid. This is another game that we need to steal. And then we close out. Oh, we play Sixers back to back. We got to be able to beat them with no James Harden, period. But definitely, if we can get at least one of those games with no Embiid, this is you got to make the hay while the sun shines, especially if you're gonna play. The Bucks are starting the week out. Get your W's when you can. If we could get through this we should be able to beat the Jazz.
With everything
I know
they're
playing well, but team to team, we got to beat those guys. We got to
win
those games.
With all of these games that I see, John Collins is going to have to exert more energy on the defensive end than the offensive end. Against the Bucks, he's either going to have to guard Giannis, or Giannis is going to be hurt, and he's going to have to guard Bobby Portis. And Bobby Portis is old man strong. Now, John, you need to out-athleticize Bobby Portis. You ain't going to out-athleticize Giannis. But if it's Bobby Portis and not Giannis, John, you need to run as fast as you can and jump as high as you can, because nobody else can guard you on that team but Giannis. Nobody.
See, I look at that game differently. Just take your L in that game. That's not the best matchup for you. But in that game, the guard should win. Specifically, whoever isn't getting guarded by Holiday. Whoever that guy is, he should have a very big night. Very simple. That's where our mismatch is. You torch that other guy, and you have a great night. John, get your 10 and 10, and we go on home. That's what I'm more interested in. Now, Utah, you should make it difficult on Lloyd Marketing.
I about to say, Lloyd Marketing ain't no hoe now.
Yeah. Now, Laurie offensively has played very well. But best thing that you can do for a guy who's playing good on offense is what? Make him play a lot of defense. If you tire him out and you have an effective game against them, that's your game to have your influence. You already know Sexton is going to be who he is.
He's going to give Trae problems. He's going to give Trae problems. Trae got to learn how to play off the ball, man. You can't get mad and say, give me the ball as my team. Like, nah. And in Philly, you got to Philly, you got.
You can't say that right now because it's DeJounte's team. I mean, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say this DeJounte's team, but everybody is looking around like.
Well, no, because Trae's still giving you. Trae's leading the league in assists again. Like,
hey, that's all well and good, but in 2 games, we've needed one guy to get us to win the game. When the rubber met the road, it was DeJounte both times, and there's not. You can say, hey, this is your team. You've been here for a long time. I'm here now. There have been 2 incidences. I fixed it both times.
I will say, it seems like their roles are defining themselves between Trae and DeJounte.
Yep.
So Trae is the fire starter. Trae will normally come out and look for his shot in the first 2 to 3 quarters, and DeJounte is more let the game come to him. I'm going to affect the game defensively, and nobody can keep me out of the paint. And if he ever gets his mid-range game to,
which he working on every game, you see him shoot it, and you're like, don't shoot it. And now I'm like, don't shoot it, but I need you to kind of learn how to shoot it.
And now, but he's got this, so he's working on his mid-range. And DeJounte lets the game come to him, but he is starting to pick his spots when he sees that Trae is out of sorts, or if he sees the team is fading a little bit, we give him the ball. And John Collins already has a better rapport with him than he does with Trae. Already. He looks for John Collins.
and he just has the ability. That's the reason I'm not as mad about Trae wanting Herder to go. Because as good as Herder is, Herder...
Too passive. Too scary.
Yes. DeJounte is a defibrillator. We look like we're on life support. He hop right out there. Boom, boom. And then we go right to it. And they be like, oh, no, we can win. Hey, Trae.
5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 10 points. He'd be like, dang, what did that happen?
But he does way more stuff than just score points. He's like, nah, I get some rebounds. I'll play some defense, see if we can get some turnovers. He just finds another way to affect the game while still playing offense at the same time. And I think that, I mean, you're going to look at that differently. That's hustle. That's not just, hey, give me the ball, I'll fix it. It's not, I'll help us all fix it type of thing. And he kept pestering the Knicks. He was like, nah, give me that again. One more time.
He had Jalen Brunson and Quickly
flustered.
Just totally upset at each other. They were just mad at nobody else but themselves. He ripped Jalen Brunson like a high schooler ripped a JV player. Like he and DeJounte talks about I study the game a lot. I watch a whole lot of film. And you can tell he does because no matter what the Knicks were doing, he was right there. Swipe up, post, swipe, post.
Pest.
And he's a pest.
As good as DeAndre Hunter is on defense, this is what people were looking for, is this part of the defense, which 100%. Is sometimes going to get you beat, and it's going to let CJ McCollum, like, because don't forget now, as good as he played against the Pelicans, CJ McCollum was tearing that ass up. He was giving it to him.
To who, DeJounte? Yeah, CJ's streaky, though. Once CJ hit 4, like 2 or 3, and then he come down. Once he came down and hit that 3 on the fast break, 1-on-4, I said, ooh, y'all better call timeout because they about to come back. Because we were up by 13 with 5 minutes left in the game, and they tied it and sent it to overtime. And Trae, the thing I don't like about Trae is when something goes wrong, he always looks at somebody else. Starting to have like the LeBron type thing. You know, LeBron doesn't do something right. He turns around like that, and it's like, bro, it was you. You were the one that was supposed to be there, and you weren't. And I'm starting to see that from Trae a little bit. I'm a little nervous about that. That's the only thing. I'm a little nervous.
I don't think that he can do that because, and I want to say it was the last game where he fell or something, and he was just down, and they played 4-on-5.
Trae?
Trae stayed on one end of the court.
That's when he hurt his. That's when he hurt. When he hurt his eye.
No, but the eye was already hurt. No. It was the very last game where he just laid down there and he didn't get up, and they got the defense. I mean, they got the ball back and came back down. He just stood up like he was okay. Like, I wonder if, once we get back to the huddle, I have to say something about that.
Yeah.
Like,
Trae,
you let us play all this defense by ourselves, and then as soon as we get the ball, now you can stand up and you're ready to play.
Yeah, as a leader.
We got to at least have a conversation about that.
That's what it is. Trae isn't a leader. Trae's not a leader. He's a really good player. He's a really good basketball player. Trae has to perfect his leadership skills. DeJounte is a leader. From what I've seen, DeJounte is a leader. His presence commands respect. Where Trae's more like a little kid. And I don't want to call him immature, but Trae's persona is that of a little kid. Where DeJounte's is that of a I'm gonna figure it out type thing. You know what I mean? And I need Trae to grow up. I need Trae to grow up.
And it works for Trae if you can give him the ball and he can just go nuclear and fix it. Then you're like, you know what? Well, the leadership really ain't there, but hell, we got the W, so that's all that matters. DeJounte is like, oh, okay, all right, well, I'll just play a bunch of defense and I'll try to turn the ball over so then we can, cut the lead.
We're coming to the end of the episode, so we're gonna cut it off here in a little bit. But I will leave y'all with this. I really need Trae. We said it last year. We said it before. 25 and 15 will get us 10 to 15 more wins than 35 and 10 or 35 and 8. Because 35 and 8 means somebody else our third best player on the court, possibly our fourth, John Collins, is not getting the shots because DeAndre Hunter is now aggressive. DeAndre is taking it. He is the one, he is the one that is going to the basket and trying to hit his mid-range. He's figured out his post game a little bit when he has a smaller defender on him. He's been working with Hoodie Mello. So he's going to shoot regardless. John, they're not even giving him the ball. And the thing is, Trae is also a little, I sound like you today. Trae is a little bit of, when I say he's immature, because he'll do the thing that Kobe used to do when Kobe was on terrible teams. You know, Kobe used to be toxic when he was on terrible teams, you know, RIP. But, you know, Kobe would just not shoot for the whole first quarter, right? Kobe, you need to pass the ball. All right. And he'll just pass the ball for the whole. No, don't do that. We need you to just play the game and get everybody else involved. And if you do, we are one of the more difficult teams to beat after we trade Justin Holiday.
He snuck that in at the end. Yeah, I
mean,
I
he can go.
I think that if he ever embraced being the master facilitator instead of being the master scorer,
number one point guard in the game. Number one point guard in the game. Nothing you can do about it either. Nothing.
But as long as he wants to have the most points every game, he's fighting himself. And I don't think, but that's one of the things that only comes with time. I don't think that anybody can tell him that as much. I'm sure Nate has probably told him that a million times. Because 25 and 15 would not be unreasonable to him.
It's easy. It's easy. That's what's crazy. Nuts. That's insane. 25 and 15 was what he should average. 25 and 12 is what Trae should average. And it's easy for him. It's easy for him. Because him going 34 and 14 or whatever he had wasn't that difficult.
If he ever doubled down and thought to himself that I will shoot easier shots if everybody else scored more points, he's the best point guard in the NBA.
Oh.
By a long stretch.
And you can't even say this last game was on Nate offense. Nate not coaching the offense. They were running plays against the Pelicans. Back screens, DeAndre cutting to the basket. They finally figured out a way to get Jalen to start cutting to the basket, giving him the ability to pump fake and drive. He had like 3 dunks that were really, really good.
Well, that's also, once again, that's DeJounte. DeJounte let him bring the ball up the court. And if only just to bring the ball up the court to pass him the ball, you're getting him used to
putting him in movement.
Steps right. Exactly. And I'm telling you, he can pass the damn ball.
Yeah, he made one pass on that behind the back joint. I was like,
and he's making passes right now like I can't afford to make a mistake. If he ever gets an opportunity to play basketball and just play basketball, he is going to be he's completely different than John Collins. Let's be very clear about that. I don't like him standing in the corner shooting those threes. I'd much rather him pump fake and go try to get a dunk every time. Well, I would like John to do that too. I'm not as good as the bigs may be able to shoot. Pump fake, go to the basket, shoot the free throws every time. All of you guys are athletes, real athletes. Make them foul you, shoot the free throws. Make it easy on yourself. Us shooting these threes sometimes I feel like it's a bailout to a lot of teams. And the only person who I really feel confident even shooting that shot is John Collins. And I still don't want him shooting. Dunk the ball.
DeAndre has proven that he can hit the open three.
Oh, yeah. I don't but he's a wing, not a big to me. I'm talking bigs, not wings.
Oh, bigs. Yeah.
If you're open, you shoot it. You better
100%.
make it, but shoot it.
100%.